the finished product of a plastic bottle, you don't think about the process.
Most of the public does not know that their plastic materials are being made in petrochemical plants.
People think when they're drinking bottled water that they're getting a healthy product. They're not conditioned to think, well, maybe there's something in the plastic.
We found that one person at the FDA was responsible for overseeing all of the regulation of bottled water in the country.
Are you that one person?
I do spend some of my time on bottled water, but I have other responsibilities as well.
We don't consider tap water to be an enemy. We don't.
Can people typically perceive a difference in taste?
I can tell the difference in many bottled waters, just as I can tell the difference between tap water and other beverages.
You can.
Absolutely.
You know, you're under oath, but you
Absolutely.
I say that with your retirement exemption.
Well, first of all, we should realize that a lot of bottled water is tap water.
What do you mean? I thought that they came from like the mountains and the streams and the springs of Maine.
That's what they would have us believe.
Bottled water is the greatest advertising and marketing trick of all time.
There are all sorts of ecological problems. We use approximately 18 million barrels of oil to transport water, and it's growing every year.
It's as if we're a bulimic society. We've been binging on petroleum, we've been packaging everything in plastic, and now we're running out of resources.
In a time when we're looking at climate change, why are we shipping water around the world?
If you eliminate the scourge of bottled water, you'll be eliminating one of the biggest problems facing our environment.
There's plastic everywhere in the ocean. There's 9 million football fields of area, about as big as Texas, 3.5 million tons of plastic out there, all absorbing pollutants, animals consuming it up the food chain to the food that you and I eat.
So, as some of you might guess, there's a little bit of controversy around drinking bottled water. This visual here, the background, is a photo taken by Chris Jordan depicting 2 million plastic beverage bottles, which is approximately what is used in the U.S. every 5 minutes. So why is everyone drinking bottled water? Why do you guys drink bottled water? Can I ask the audience? Anybody want to give me why they choose bottled water?
I thought it was cleaner than tap water.
Okay, great. The same?
Convenient.
Convenient, right. It's good for you. It's better to drink water. I mean, your body's made up 2/3 of water. And once you feel thirsty, you've already lost 1% of the body water that you have. So it's important. You need it for your health. Well, what's wrong with bottled water? There is something wrong with it, which I'm going to go over. That's what I'm going to discuss over the next few minutes. Bottled water is not healthier for you more than filtered water or tap water. And in some cases, it can even be dangerous for you. It can be contaminated. Another reason why you shouldn't drink bottled water is it's 500 to 1,000 times more expensive than drinking tap water. And the last one is environmentally disastrous for what it's doing to this planet. In the last 5 years, how it's impacted the planet, I'm going to tell you a little bit about that, is just unbelievable. Health concerns. So this is the first point I want to go over for all of you. One of the myths that most people think is that bottled water is better than or safer than tap water. Well, it's a fact that the FDA, which is the Food and Drug Administration, has little authority to regulate bottled brands. And that's according to a government report recently released. The FDA requires bottlers to put an expiration date on their bottles, and I know some people say the expiration date, I mean water expires. Well, actually it's not the water, but the chemical, the plastic containers that it is made and put in is made from petroleum. And over time, this leaches plastic phthalates into the water. Now, companies like Nestle, they estimate that it's about 2 years before that starts happening, but a lot of studies have shown it's even shorter than that. The last point I want to mention is that the FDA gets its safety data regarding the plastic containers from the manufacturers of plastic, which is a little concerning to me because, I don't know, it seems the guy who's making the plastic is not going to be as objective about that point. So they don't do their own testing on the containers, which is a little bit of an issue. Another thing to note is that there's an 18-month report study that was done by an environmental working group, which is an independent group, a watchdog group for the public and health concerns, and they found that only 2 brands of bottled water disclose their water sources and their treatment methods. Only 2. They're not even the 2 that you would think. They're not Poland Spring, which most people in the New York area drink. It's Ozarka and Penta Ultra Purified Water. I know I've never seen either of those. The rest will not disclose. They can't even come back to the origin of where their water is coming from. So the other point I want to bring out that might impact some of you, and you might not realize it because on a daily basis it's a small amount of money, but it is more expensive to drink bottled water. It is an average of 500 times cheaper to go with tap, and in some cases, depending on the bottle you drink, it's up to 1,000 times more expensive. So if you drink a 20-ounce bottle of water every day, 7 days a week, over a year, you've spent almost $550. And I know most people drink more than one 20-ounce bottle a day. The average cost for a gallon of water is now more than a gallon of gasoline, which gasoline is a necessity. You need to get around in your car. Bottled water is not. And then a writer who wrote a great book called Bottle Mania, Elizabeth Royt is her name. Bottle Mania, How Water Went on Sale and Why We Bought It. It's a really, really great read. She makes note that as the population grows and as the climate changes, fresh water will become even scarcer and therefore even more valuable. So they're estimating the cost of it to go up even higher. The last point I want to bring to your attention is that environmentally disastrous point. So as you saw in the movie Taft, plastic is everywhere. Approximately 9 million football fields worth of plastic is out there in our landfills and in our ocean. That's approximately almost the size of Texas, which is an astronomical figure. Besides the sheer number of plastic bottles produced each year, the energy to manufacture and transport these bottles is an unbelievable drain on our fossil fuel sources. It takes about 100,000 cars worth of fuel. 100,000 cars driving in the U.S. per year is what it takes to produce the plastic containers for bottled water. That's the equivalent, which is an astronomical number. And the reality is we're only recycling about 20% of that. So what can you do about that? Well, you could do nothing. You could just leave it at that, and we just keep going the way we go. And the numbers are multiplying dramatically. So we can keep spending money. We can keep filling up our landfills, and they're going to keep getting bigger and bigger, and there are countries in the world out there that don't even have a place for their garbage anymore, so we could eventually be one of those. Or we could look at some alternatives, like just stop purchasing bottled water. So some alternatives, first of all, New York, it's ironic, New York has award-winning water. We have one of the best tasting, best quality waters in the country. And it's ironic that America is the highest consumer of bottled water, yet we have the best water on the planet. So it's very strange to me, but that is a fact. You could drink filtered tap water. It's one of the safest waters out there, and in many cases safer than that bottled water. You can buy portable water filter pitchers, such as a Brita, very inexpensive option, and that would pay for itself in maybe a week or 2 of purchasing bottled waters. You can use glass or PVA-free plastic reusable bottles to carry your filtered water with you instead of those Poland Spring ones you'll find in your purse. You can install filters on your house or faucets, or at the workplace you can even they have filtered systems a lot of companies are installing. That's your best option. That's going to be cleaner than tap water because it's filtered tap water. So all of these are great options, and they're pretty inexpensive when you compare them to drinking water. So I ask you to recap again. Drinking bottled water has a lot of ramifications on your health, on your finances, and the environment. And so today, my point is to see who is willing to give up drinking bottled water. Can any of you commit to that today?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed the presentation.